Hi, my name is Karna Hauck, and I teach art at Northfield High School. And here is my teacher statement. As a teacher of visual art, I consider myself adaptable and grounded in many years of practice, 28 to be exact. Or at least I thought I was until the pandemic of 2020 hit. Sometimes as we get older in our practice, we can rely on what we know, but this experience, this pandemic teaching experience, was like becoming a first-year teacher all over again. It challenged and questioned the essence of my practice. We've been using the term critical core this year, a term that our curriculum director, Hope Langston, has successfully made a part of our teaching vernacular. We've had to decide what is critical and what is not to the learning for our students when teaching with altered teacher-student contact time over distance versus face-to-face and with limited materials. Fortunately, my work of teaching art is often about encouraging creative problem solving within a set of limitations. I was now facing this challenge on a grand scale while guiding my students to do the same, and we were all navigating uncharted territory. Not to mention feeling fearful about COVID-19 and a bit down about the near future and how this could possibly unfold with success. I realized after now completing 2 very different semesters of pandemic teaching that there is a lot to glean. There are takeaways like personal heart-to-heart, one-on-one Zoom meetings that gave me the opportunity to support kids in really meaningful ways. Other key learnings for me were efficient, timely art assessment practices using Schoology tools that I did not realize would make my life easier, and the development of creative art lessons and materials that, who knew, can all fit into one large toteable Ziploc baggie. It is incredible what I have learned. I've had to practice what I tell my students to practice by modeling creative problem solving, but also positivity and healthy coping with pandemic skills. It is true that if your needs are not met, it is difficult to meet the needs of others, but I learned some of this already by balancing being a busy mom while teaching. Now I would face the test of doing what I always tell my students to do when they are in my art classes. Put your creative brain on and put your critical brain away. In my physical classroom, I promote vulnerability and mistake-making and openness to the idea of another, and more importantly, kindness to self. Could I do this over Zoom? With my own critical brain and self-doubt, how could I expect my students to experience success under these circumstances? With my curious brain on, I could see success in a new way. Success for me, as a teacher, usually looks like establishing a classroom learning environment that nurtures creativity, curiosity, individuality, and that allows kids to develop and shine in their artistic growth. This means rich learning materials, shareable and available, and a lot of planned and spontaneous conversations during studio work times that ideally motivate students and encourage artistic progress. So much of this rich experience was torn away when we all went home in March of 2020. But despite the lack of preparation that we all felt, and frankly sometimes still feel, about teaching during a pandemic, this lens of critical core has been helpful to the adjustment process. I love connecting with kids and helping them grow, and I learned that this can happen in multiple ways, and even from a distance. I also learned that kids are resilient. Success looks a lot different now. I've had to be a clear and efficient communicator and try building real connection in unique ways. I've had to listen and go out of my way to nurture student success and artistic growth. Through this challenging year of limitations, I have learned once again that creative problem solving arises out of limitations and that we as people need each other. My eyes became the most wide open when I had the opportunity to deliver materials to kids' homes across all economic demographics in the greater Northfield community. I learned to have a great appreciation for my students and their obstacles and connected with them in more personal ways than ever before. I am more interested now, more than ever, how we can build between our community divides. I counted on students to do their best to communicate their needs, which they have gotten better at. My students and I have been able to navigate this great abyss of unknown and create some routine and joy together. It has been a privilege to walk with these young artists. I believe in kids and in their potential. I believe in their flexibility and resiliency and their capacity for growth, despite the barricades that block so many of them from it being easy. I'm reminded of how we as an educational system tend to, as educator Dr. Lindsay Ott said, hand every kid a size 10 shoe and ask them to wear it. I have a greater understanding of that disparity and the importance of individualized talent developing education, especially after 2020 woke up so many of us to injustice and to the importance of restoring justice. I am thankful to build my awareness around what equity in education truly means. All I need is to read these words that just were placed in my school mailbox yesterday to remind me that I am here to build individualized connections to encourage kids to notice their own success and be able to count on themselves. This note was from a 9th grader who was failing my class, but pulled himself up and out of that hole just this January. The note says, "Dear Mrs. Hauck, thank you for helping me with my late art homework and for telling me I can do it." I was so impacted by this note. That simple message this student took the time to write to me and get to me in my mailbox made a huge impact on my heart. It will be a reminder of how I have the great privilege to illuminate and reflect back to my students their own beauty and their amazing potential. I want every student to know that his, her, their lives matter. So, to Lupema, Grace, Victor, and many young artists who have impacted my life in the last year, through your efforts and success, big and small, I thank you. Art is a great tool for self-reflection and understanding others, and I consider to be surprised and delighted by the power of the art. I continue to be surprised and delighted by the power of the arts to reflect our humanity and truly transform people's lives. I have had the privilege to see into my students' lives and their powerful art through this pandemic lens. The arts in education gives opportunity for individualized learning that is talent developing, meaningful, self-reflective, confidence building, and transformative for our K-12 students. I want to thank the Northfield Public Schools for valuing the arts by committing to quality programming, and I want to thank the Northfield Arts Guild for being an incredible partner in arts education to our schools, our teachers, and our amazing students for more than 40 years.